Hi, this is Rachelle with Journal Life's Journey, and this is a bit of a spur of the moment thing that I decided to do for Easter and lately, or for the past couple of years, Halloween. I usually do like a little treat bag for my children, the two younger children, and my adult children as well. And now G Baby is included, and I also make one for myself. So usually I would just get a bag from Walmart, um, just a regular paper bag, but they have them with decoration on them or whatever. So I decided to make my own for Halloween. I didn't really come into this with a specific idea. A couple of days ago, I created a stencil that I decided to use for the bags, and then I kind of winged it from there. So this is just me sharing the process of making the treat bags for my family. Now, these aren't anything fancy. They're very simple. I didn't do bag toppers and tags and all of that. I kind of just put all the decoration on the bag using supplies that I have. So to start here, I have my spray box, and I'm just rearranging some of the papers that I have in the box, straightening everything out, and I'm going to start putting my paper bags in. These are just regular paper bags that I got from, I think, the grocery store, maybe Walmart, last year sometime. And I used the side that doesn't have the folded part first. Here I am spraying with my acrylic paint spray, and I'm also going to use like a gray shimmery color from Tattered Angels. The paper bags don't really soak up the sprays very well, so they kind of sat on the surface. So I decided to try and dry them a little faster with the heat gun. Once I got them pretty dry, picking them up, flipping them over so that I could do the other side. And also, I just wanted to spray the top to give it kind of that grungy look for Halloween. So I wasn't trying to change the color of the whole bag, just the top area. So I'm going to repeat that same process on the other side of the paper bags. And I did spray quite a bit more on this side. So I was trying to get it as black as I could get it, and I probably oversprayed. Here I'm adding the Tattered Angels spray also, so it's really saturating the paper bags. And I'm going to hit it with the heat gun. And as I'm drying it, I can see that the paint and the spray are puddling. So I decided to do like a little drip effect, and I lifted up my spray box and let the paint and the Tattered Angel shimmer spray, or glimmer mist, I think is what they call it, drip down the paper bag. Because the paper bags were so saturated, I decided to lift the box up and let the drip back the other way and just drain into the box. And I did that while I continued to use the heat gun to dry. So now that they are mostly dry on the other side, I mean, they're still damp in areas. I was looking at the sides, and I decided that I need to do something with that area as well. So I'm going to use just one of the sprays. I'm going to use the acrylic spray that I made and go ahead and hit that with a little of the color as well. And one thing, if you do something like this, make sure you keep the top of the bag as open as possible during the process, especially if you're using an acrylic, because it will seal the bag shut in areas. I did have that problem with two of the bags, but I caught it while they were still damp and it was not a problem for me to open them up. So I'm just going through hitting the sides of all of these bags. And in total, I am doing 6 bags, so these are the first 3. So I'm just going to open those sides and again hit them with the heat gun, because I don't want them to close up and seal together either. I also have a fan blowing on my desk as well, so I propped the paper bag up on the side of the box so that it could get some of the airflow from the fan. Doing a little touch-up spray there, and back again with the heat gun. So here we are with the first 3 bags, mostly dry. They still could stand to dry a little more, and I'm going to place them on top of my camera rig in front of the fan so that they can dry, and I'm going to get started on the next 3 bags. So now that all 6 bags are done and fairly dry, I'm going to remove the spray box and get started on the next step in this process. This is the stencil that I created using a poly folder, you know, the school pocket folders, and I cut it with the Cricut. So this is my stencil that I'm going to use, and I'm placing it on top of the paper bag on top of my craft mat, and I'm going to tape the stencil down on 3 sides so that I can easily slide each bag in and out, and so that my stencil does not move. So here I am using some Distress Oxide ink. I don't remember the name of the color. I'm horrible with names. I will put it in the description box below. And I also failed to pop out the stem on the stencil, so I'm just popping that out now. I'm going to continue inking, and I'm not doing any circular motions or sliding the applicator back and forth, because the little pieces on the stencil are easy to move. So I'm just dabbing and pressing the ink into the paper bag. So I wasn't sure that I had enough ink, and I pulled the bag out to take a look, and I could tell that I did not. So I'm adding more ink to darken the jack-o'-lantern. I still thought that I needed more depth in the color, so I'm putting the bag back in, trying to line it up again with the stencil so that I can add more ink. And here I decided I wanted to add even more depth, so I'm going to add a darker ink. This is Walnut Stain. I know what color this one is. And I'm going to add some shading. I'm going to use it to change the color of the stem as well. And this is also one of those rounded applicator sponges. I think I like them better than the flat ones. This is the only color that I've used it with, so I'm not 100% sure, and I haven't used the rounded applicator a lot yet, but I think I like it better. I don't want to overdo it, so I didn't want to make this a difficult project because I had so many to do. So that gives the jack-o'-lantern a little more depth and a little more color. So I am happy with that. And it kind of gives him or her a glowy look. So here I'm just sliding in the next bag, and I'm going to repeat the same process for all 6 bags. So that is the last bag. I'm going to put the ink away and decide what I'm going to do next. So here I'm just opening the bags, making sure that they are not sealed together, and opening them up also so the air can circulate through and help them finish drying quickly. So here are the bags with the stenciled jack-o'-lantern on them. So using some black archival ink, I am going to use some alpha stamps to stamp everyone's initial on the other side of the bag. These are some Tim Holtz alpha that I have never actually used them, so I have to break them off of the rubber. So this one is actually for me, and of course I stamped my initial crooked, but it's okay. I took the bag that was most flawed, so. And I'm just stamping off that ink. So I've stamped the last initial, and I was looking at the little scrap paper that I had there with the bats on it, and it kind of inspired me with an idea. So I'm putting away the alpha stamps that I used, and I pulled out some Halloween stamps that I have in my stash just to see if there was anything else I could use. I knew I wanted to use the bats, so I decided to just stick with the bats. And I'm just going to place those stamps on the acrylic block and try to place them the same way that they came packaged. And I'm just going to stamp above and to the right of the initial. And I really like the way that came out. So I'm going to stamp the remaining 5 bags. So after stamping the last bag, I kind of felt like I needed something on the left side as well. So I'm going to adjust my bats, and I'm going to go back through and stamp on the left side as well. once all the bats were stamped, I also had this sentiment in that same collection of stamps that says trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat, and I couldn't resist using it. So I don't really have much success with sentiment stamps, and this one was very small as far as the fonts on the stamp, but I decided to give it a shot. So I'm going to use it on the side of the bag where the jack-o'-lantern is. So I'm using my bag as the test bag, and I'm just trying to make sure that I have the stamp positioned correctly and testing to see how well it's going to stamp. Inking it up once again. And stamping it on the bag. And I didn't put even pressure, so it did not stamp in the middle area, but I'm just gonna put it back on and do a double stamp. And luckily I lined it up pretty good and it came out pretty nice. Also, the stamp has like a drippy, grungy look, so a little error in stamping doesn't show a lot. So I was satisfied with that, and I go ahead and stamp the remaining bags. So that was the last bag, and I think I am done tempting fate with this little quick last minute project. So these are the finished bags. This is the side with the initials and the bats. And then this is the side with the jack-o'-lantern and the sentiment. I think they came out pretty nice considering it was a last minute thing, kind of in the middle of the night that I decided to do. The one on the right is mine. As you can see, I missed painting the edge, but it's okay. I didn't want to go back and spray it again by the time I saw it because I didn't want it to be wet. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. I'll holler at y'all next time. Bye.